All right, welcome to another episode. We're gonna forget about the T34 net for tonight because I'm kind of getting tired of working on it. And I have started on this project previously. It's an Ultra Sport 60, also known as an Ultra Sport 80. I have already stripped the fuselage down and started to recover it. You can see there. It was previously all black. As you can see, some of the residuals left over. I'm going to go cover that here in a second. I've made new tail surfaces. You're going to go ahead and put some Robart hinges in it because this thing flies amazingly good. Built them out of this balsa. Skinned them with 16th inch and tapered them. This is the old color ring screen. The wing is still pretty well intact. So black was the thing. Tail surfaces were all pink. You can see why this thing's coming in for a recover job, because it's literally just falling apart. It's that old. I flew it for a couple years. The bottom was a lot of pink. I don't mind pink. I already have one pink airplane that I'm redoing, and one's enough. So we're going to do something a little different than the pink on the bottom. Probably pick another color out. I need to finish this. It's not going to stay all this. I don't remember what you call this color. It's like a World War II color. I don't know. Silver, I guess you would call it. I think it looks pretty sharp as is. I think I will do something a little different. Maybe throw a stripe down through here in a different color. And then, I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I haven't decided what I'm going to cover the tail surfaces yet. Typically, I go checkerboard or same color with stripes on stuff. This was a plane that I purchased used. It had a Enya 80 on it. There we go. Here's the motor. It's a very, very nice running engine. If you'll notice, it does have a pipe on it. So she's got a tune pipe on it. It sticks out the bottom, kind of like that. Very well built. I went ahead and did a vintage build on it. I did find a brand new in the box at a swap meet. FUTOP is 7-channel PCM, 72 megahertz. All brand new in the box. So I went ahead and installed that because it had no servos in it. And see, I went ahead and used the servo tray. It's got 3000 Fords in it all the way around. Still running a single aileron servo. A lot of guys don't like that. I've never found much, I lost an aileron servo one time in a twin aileron setup plane, and it locked over full tilt, so it ended up crashing my plane. So I figured it's the only time I've ever had an aileron servo failure on any of these planes. I guess the hope is that, maybe less flutter, especially at the speeds that this thing can fly at, but there ain't much there. I mean, there's maybe a 16th. I'd be surprised if it was even a 32nd of play in this bell crank system. I mean, whoever built this plane did a very nice job. I guess it came out of Chicago. I'm not sure. You can see they inlaid this is where the tune pipe mount sits. Something like this. This is how it will look when it's on the plane. And they inlaid that and painted it. I think they did a really nice job. It's no reason to change it if it ain't broke. So anyways, I'll go ahead and I think I'm going to try a time lapse today. I'll get you kind of going here. First order of operation is to recover it, get this nose covered. I kind of fell into these doing the black on the front a little bit. I don't like the way it looks. So this is covered in monocoat, no ultra coat here. So I think I'll go ahead and cut this out. A little tip there for when you're doing this: measure your distances, because when you eyeball stuff like I used to do, you end up with this way overhang, way big piece, and you end up cutting a lot of it out. You'll see me get the tape measure out. I'll measure from here to here. And I'll give myself about a 1/4 inch on each end of overlap. You're always surprised at how far your covering jobs can go when you start measuring stuff out and actually know how big of a piece you need. And yes, my shop's clean. I've spent the last day and a half cleaning my workbench off, sweeping it, putting stuff away. Wife was watching one of my videos the other night, and she's like, "Man, not too bad, but I wish there was less clutter." So I went ahead and installed this strip outlet, which I've been wanting to do. This is a new shop. Built this last winter. Went ahead and installed a outlet there, running up into my outlet on the ceiling. And then I went ahead and put this fancy light in here. I have to get a new bulb. But anyways, I'll probably trim this out a little bit. I get you so you can see, so it can swing all the way around. It's just a desktop lamp. I figured it might help a little with filming to get some light when I'm doing some close-up shots. So anyways, I'm going to switch this over to time lapse. I can figure out how. I'm going to have to set you up here. Let's see, where's my more button at? Oh. Should be here somewhere. Oh, come on. I just had it so I could set it up. Okay, that's that. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll have to pause it. Alright, well, it took me about 20 minutes. You watched in 30 seconds. That's pretty neat that my phone's got that. Anyways, decided to go ahead and add the blue here. In all reality, you are supposed to start at the back when you're covering these planes, and then work your way ahead for fuel proofing. This plane's already covered, so I'm just more paying attention to where my body line, where my lines are at, and making sure I get at least a 1/4 inch of overlap there. Just gonna trim this back real quick. I'm not too worried about peeling this over, so I got a good adhesion on it. There's gonna be a canopy back here that I gotta make. Maybe we'll make that today. And then, so not too worried about this falling off. It might give us some lifting issues down the road, but you're talking years probably. Anyways, I like that. That really spiced things up. Now the original canopy on this, I don't even think I have it anymore. the guy that bought it, he dyed it dark blue. There it is. This is what the original canopy looks like. Something like that. I was able to save it and not crack it when I pulled it apart, and I just ran my razor knife, my X-Acto blade around the edges, and it popped right off. The only problem I got with this is a pretty nice cockpit. You can see he took time and get you in close here. And he did a nice instrument cluster. He's got a fairly decent pilot in here. And then he covered it all up with a blue tinted canopy. Anyhow, when I bought it, it had this big glue mark on the top, and that's what that does. That's what CA does to canopies. So it doesn't really fit it anymore. I mean, I could put it back on, glue it back down, something like that, but I got another idea. And I'm going to show you that right now. I haven't tried this yet on this model, but an easy way to get Lexan canopies, especially for 60 size 40 and 60 size planes, is to simply grab a clear 2-liter bottle. Now check that out. It's a little short. You know, maybe that won't work. This is a little big. It really needs to have that full canopy look. So that's not going to work, unfortunately. That's a big canopy. As you can tell, you can get the shape out of it. Unless they're really big. Well, even that other one won't work quite right. So, I wonder, I don't know. I really didn't want to cover that guy up. I think what I'll do is I'll stick this one on for now, because I don't prefer to glue my canopies down. I like to screw them down. I'm going to run a couple screws in here. I'll get some hardware here. I like to use servo screws. And then, like these guys here. You guys ain't using these servo screws like that. These things are awesome. They're Allen socket. They're very nice to use. A lot better than Phillips head screws. And I highly recommend them. There's several companies that sell them. RJL, Dubro sells them. They're just called socket head servo screws, and they work great for doing stuff like this. On top of doing servos. So I like to drill a 16th inch pilot hole in a few key locations. Get the drill here. I think you can get a new canopy on eBay for the 60 size Ultra Sport. I'll have to check into that. I was going to buy one, and I'm not sure exactly. That was a year ago. Kind of fell to the wayside. Anyways, the biggest thing you want to make sure is when you're drilling these pilot holes, you're not drilling into your fuel tank, which this one still has one in it. So it's, you can't see because my arm's in the way, from here forward. And it's definitely down below this sideline, so long as I don't drill too deep, I won't put a hole in my tank. So I think we'll go with the old 4-bolt fashion. So just my idea is something like this. You don't have to drill a big hole, just a little guy, and kind of short, like that. Do the same on the other side, kind of hold it tight. Well, hand would cooperate here. And then I'm going here. And then we can run a screw in here. Well, backstory, I was putting a Ceramark pits together, and I did this number, and I put a screw right here in the center of the canopy, and I didn't check to see where the fuel tank was, and I drilled the hole shallow like I just did here, make sure, because I knew I was close to it. I didn't think I was right over top of it, and then I screwed the screw in, and it got tight, and I didn't think nothing of it. And I went to the flying field to test fly it, and I could not get a good reliable engine to start to save my life. Super Tiger 91. And I took it home, and I thought, well, I'll dig into the tank and see what's going on, and I couldn't get the tank out. And that's when I saw my servo screw. I didn't drill through it, but I ran the servo screw right into the top of it. And that's where all my line pressure was going. It was right to the top of it. So I put a nice little piercing right into a brand new 16-ounce Sullivan tank. I was not happy about that. I'd go buy a new tank and rip it out and redo the whole mess, and I'm sure you will see that future. Like I said, lots of plans. So anyways, there's that. I know we're not into our canopy. So what we're going to do now is a lot of this went into just balsa wood. And they will not stay in here. I mean, the first flight it'll be screwless, probably canopyless. It'll so old it'll probably rip out. So what I do is I pull my screws back out, and then I harden the threads that are in there with just a little drop of CA in there. And you got to make sure that when you do this, especially on a new plane, that you don't get into a rush and put your canopy on right away, because that CA, those fumes, they will make that thing so cloudy. When I glue my canopies down, because I just ain't got no options to put screws in there, I use RC56 canopy glue. It dries clear, but as the age yellows, you can cover up the seam with a piece of vinyl or something. Anyways, I got the glues here somewhere. I know I don't have any thin. Thin would be ideal, but if you're a little more patient, gap filling will work just fine too. Anyways, here's my. I'll get you in here if I can get this fuselage just settle down here. Anyways, there's my. You can see it right there. Right there. I just put a little dribble, there's the other one, of CA in there. And that'll wick into the balsa. It'll harden those threads, and when you put that canopy back in, it will tighten up real nice and your bolts won't fall out. Anyhow, there's that. And while I got making a mess again, inevitable in the hobby shop to not have a busy workplace. I'll do my best to keep it kind of clutter free so you can concentrate on what I'm doing. You see what I'm doing. Got these cabinets up here, might as well use them. Anyhow, we'll set this aside, and I think I'm just going to cover those surfaces in blue just to give the trim something to do. You also see me using a stick quite often. I got various pieces of implement for making stripes. That's just one of them. I do cut when I do like checkerboard and stuff. Up there in the monocoat drawer, I got several pieces of plywood that I've cut to various squares so that way I can duplicate it. I don't like to use self-adhesive stick on. I prefer to cover everything in monocoat. I'm still playing around with the ultra coat. You'll always forget to do that. So anyways, when I'm using these, I'm hinging. I'll hinge everything. You can see here, using Robar hinges. I gotta find that other one. It's probably in that bin somewhere. But you can see how I clearance out the holes there for the hinge to rotate. Anyways, I like to try to do one hinge at a time. That way I can do this. Line that up. Before I cover it, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife here, wherever I want. Now, things, I swear to God, where's my other one? So I lose them. I'll line this up. I've already pre-drilled these holes, and I can see one right there. And then one should be right there. I'll just tap a hole in there. And then one right there. And then see if we can find that other hinge. I don't think it's got to be a black one. There's a gray one. Stick that in there. May not have clearance those. I'll have to see how it looks. So we do that for the elevator. And I assume I marked the top. There's that one. That way I can find the holes. The other trick you can do is run your finger across here and you can just about feel it. Sometimes you can see them. Well. I don't really use any particular spacing. I usually try to get 3 in every surface, depending on how big it is, depending on its application. I mean, if I was building a 300-mile-an-hour jet, I'd probably use 4 per elevator. I try to get 3 in every surface and even them out. Do the the LAR method, that looks about right method to hinge. I'll show you a quick covering here. So when I do have something like this to cover, I won't necessarily measure it, but I make sure I have plenty of overlap. I like to start on the bottom, bring that around the top, make this one whole piece, and then I'll split it for the individuals elevators. So try to give myself plenty of room around each one. I'll cut it down the middle. Monocoat so it's clear. Try to set that up so it's, you really want it to wrap all the way around the top, the front, because this is, you gotta think what direction you're flying is forward. So I always try to cover all the way around the front whenever possible. And oh, you're too hot. Another trick you can do, I don't even know if I have any, I guess I can use a little Windex. I don't have any dryer sheets out here, but instead of using a sock, I just wet a towel. We'll get some glass cleaner here and see one goes. Very nice and soapy. You can do this while it's hot and see how nasty that looks. Clean your irons. With that black gill on that fuselage just goes everywhere. That's a lot better. And you won't get stuff like this. I don't know if you can see that streak of black on there or not. That should come off with a little clean. Anyway, the monocoat, I know they're going away. I don't even know if he could still even get the stuff or not. I just got a big supply of it. Don't like it. I buy a lot of it. Anyhow, monocoat's high heat, higher heat than ultracoat. Ultracoat's low heat. I'm still experimenting with that on the Sportster Twin over there. Get down there where you can see it, you can just look at its space. I'm just starting to bring this around. And then, like I said, I try to get it around as much as I possibly can. So that way when you're flying, when that wind hits that, it wants to go this way. And if you have a seam right here, like say we did the top and we want to go to here, if you have a seam right there, it'll peel it right up. Especially if you get in any damp conditions. So the back isn't as critical. I will usually trim this off. That's why you'll see me using scissors. What? Trim? You can run this. The cut started. You don't even have to scissor it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Here we go. You just run that right down. And then you end up with an edge like that. And I like to use the scissors because it does give you a little bit of extra material to wrap around when you don't have to cut the balsa wood. Seeing as we're going to do all blue here, don't have to worry so much about getting the seam right and how it looks. So I make a little cut there, a little clearance for the rod, knifing rod. Fold it over. Trim. Pull it down. Do the same on this edge. I'll get you in here a little closer. You can see how that's curled over. Like that. Got some material there. Well, you need to fold it like almost like Christmas present. So I'll cut and cut. I'll trim. And we'll trim this one off. And peel that back a little bit so it's nice and flat. And then peel it over like that. Don't worry about that little bit of wrinkling. It'll come out with the iron or the blowgun. Trim, trim. Here's the bottom done. Almost. I got a little. Had the heat a little high. And get this out. Ain't too worried about it. This is the bottom. One of the ones that'll pretty much know it's there is me and you. And there ain't too many of you out there. I guess I just want to share my love of aviation, which I've been doing this for a really long time. And I'm a third generation flyer. My grandfather's name is on the plaque at AMA. He started flying control line back in the early 50s. I still got one of his control line planes. When Dad took up the sport in the early 80s, Grandpa was one of the, had a little booger there, cement glue. Grandpa was one of the first ones in Southwest Pennsylvania to have a RC plane. Loved his old timers. Anyhow, Dad picked up the hobby, and I think it was about 1983 when he first flew. I was 3 years old. Of course, you can see I took up after him. Anyways, I wanted to fly. I started flying in the early 80s. I was 4 or 5 years old at the time. And I soloed when I was 7 years old in summer of 1987. And then been pretty much flying ever since. Took a break from the hobby in the mid 90s, late 90s to early 2000s for, I don't know, it was a couple of years. I enjoy scratch building, restorations, building from plans. I've designed a few of my own airplanes. I don't do that as much anymore. Anyways, I always try to lay it out flat, and then you want to work your way out from this center point out and full in this direction, eliminating air bubbles as you go. These smaller surfaces aren't too bad, so if you're just starting in the hobby and you want to build and covering scares you, start with a rudder, elevator, control surface, something like that to get the feel for it. You're gonna make wrinkles, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna peel it off. I still make mistakes. I still end up pulling covering jobs off because they it's like they're just so, sometimes they're just so bad, the wrinkle's so bad, you didn't see the bevel. So anyhow, biggest thing is when you're covering, try to keep the sawdust down to a minimum. I'm kind of lazy and I don't really vacuum, and I'm not as anal as other people do. My covering jobs seem to last though. I don't have too many problems with covering coming up and loose fitting covering. But definitely the more prep time you take while covering, the better your results will be. I try to keep it simple down to a couple of colors. I like checkerboards. I like stripes. I like putting different colors on my planes. I mean, I'm kind of partial to white, but anyways, this is the other side. That's a lot of the same as far as covering this as the other side was, obviously. I never worry too much about it. If I miss a piece on these first pieces, like if I got a little bit of exposed balsa wood in the corners or whatever, just means that you got to pay closer attention to when you do the other side. And making sure you get that balsa covered, especially if you're building a natural foam or gasser. I think I get a couple of these projects out of the way. I got a pretty full project coming up. I've kind of already started on it, but should be a lot of fun. Anyhow, I imagine you guys don't probably want to see me doing too much more of this. Probably like the car channels and body work. It gets boring after a little bit, so I think I'll throw you on time lapse. And that way I can show it all. Well, I don't know about you, but that doesn't look too terribly bad. I like it. So let's get this canopy bolted back up and get an overall look. Where did... Well, let's go. There she is. The hardest part, not doing it this way, getting the screw holes to line up. But I would like to replace this with a clear one. Maybe I'll hunt around on Great Plains site and see if somebody's got one. You know what, come to think of it, I might already have one. And of course, there's that. Because what you don't want to do is make another hole in your balsa wood. It should feel pretty tight. Because you're threading it in the glue. I hope that damn thing didn't move on me. I don't think so. Let me go. Come around. Yeah, she, I think it'll be alright. Almost vertical. Anyhow, I'll fix that. Probably lost the other screw too while I was covering. Hey. I found two things I need though. I know I stuck that in here somewhere. Might have put it in the other one. Grab another screw. I'll find it. Well, where do you want to be at? Anyhow, you get the idea. Oh, sorry. Looking at my table again. I don't think that looks too bad. Now, I'll show in the next video. And something that was kind of caught my eye when I first bought this was the guy misspelled Ultra Sport 60 with Ultra Sport 80. That's the old covering job right there. I saved this because I can use this as a template. It was actually here. Something like that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Or something like this. It's kind of hard to tell, but that does say Osler Sport 80 on it. And I think the whole reason for the 80 was because he's got an Enya 80 in it. This is a fun plane. If you ever get a chance to own one, I would highly recommend it. I would, okay, let me get that one all the way. Turn the heat up a little bit and I'll turn the service down. Anyways, on the next, maybe tomorrow night I'll show you how I can recreate that. I think we'll do it that right back in that blue that it was in. The same blue that we just put on there. Anyhow, you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. If there's anything in here else that you would like to see get played with, or you got a cougar over there that needs recovering. Haven't really messed with the T-34 yet. I'm hoping to go get the wing in the next couple of weeks. It's back home. I did jump ahead a little bit. I wanted to show you this too. I did jump ahead a little bit. I did manage to get the roll 45 taken apart. Well, the piston, oh, you can see that. There you go. Oh, the piston don't look too bad. That hole's supposed to be there. The rest of the motor is it's rough. I don't have high hopes for it now. It is still sitting in the crock pot. I did get the nose off. I got the crank out. The back plate is stuck really bad. I heated it with torch. I tried lubricating it. I tried punching it out. I ended up putting a hole in it. So I think the biggest thing on that's going to be parts availability. I was going to show you this little gem too in here. I don't know if you have to watch fast. Well, what's those? Swap meet, fine. We'll just say that. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.